By the light of the sun, by the depth of the moon, by the flame of the wand, and by the pentacle of earth, I call upon the guides of wisdom, the ancestors of the craft, and the holy guardian angel. Guide us now through the stations of the dove and serpent. Reveal what is hidden, that we may transform it into light. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. In this reading, we walk the path of the dove and serpent spread, an 11-fold journey of transformation. Each position reveals a unique aspect of your journey, alternating between the essence of your being and the events that shape your destiny. Remember to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Sagittarius, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And our first card is the Princess of Pentacles. I think you're somebody who is very resourceful. I feel like you're pretty much a kind of a practical person lately, right? I feel like with this card, you tend to rely a lot on like muscle memory. You know what I mean? It feels like right now you're working on something in a way that it feels kind of automatic. Okay? And I don't know if maybe you're practicing something, maybe this is kind of how we feel at work. This is the first card, it's called Station, right? Reveals your kind of sense of self right now. What you sort of think about when you go to sleep at night. The style of your being right now. Okay, kind of how you see yourself. And I wonder if this is a feeling like life has become a little bit too routine, that we've been doing the same things for a long time, and life kind of feels automatic sometimes, where we're going through the motions, I guess would be another way to put it. And I wonder if this is something that is starting to kind of get to you a little bit. I don't want to just go through the motions of life, you know. This card is interesting because as it stands, it shows a kind of a dry, desiccated landscape. There's no green, there's no leaves on the trees. All the verdant energy has gone from this card, right? It's kind of the dead of winter. And it may feel like, you know, no matter what I do, things are not progressing. Things are not growing, things are not flourishing. I'm just kind of going through the motions. There's no real life right there, you know? But this card is working toward becoming the Empress. Okay? The cold and barren landscape will spring into abundance, into the garden, right? Right now it's just a kind of a patch of dirt. It's just a kind of a dry, empty forest. But that life will return to it. So to me, there's a great hopefulness in this card that says, you know what? Maybe life has become a little routine right now. Maybe we're kind of going through the motions, but something is about to happen. Any moment now, that life will emerge from the cold, hard ground. Okay? So I feel like right now that's kind of where your attention is fixed. You're saying, okay, I need to keep doing what I'm doing, and things will eventually transform. Like this is going to work. You know, but in the middle of it, it sort of feels like I'm just kind of going through the motions. This card is a double earth energy. And as a princess, it's focused on whatever's happening right now. It's focused on the present. And so this to me feels like we're going through the motions. We're not really being mindful. Sometimes there's a need for mindfulness here. Because this is in terms of our physical behaviors or even in terms of our body awareness. We just seem to be going through the motions and behaving sort of mechanically or robotically somewhere. And there's not a lot of thought, there's not a lot of awareness, there's not a lot of mindfulness or real attention or self-awareness going on, right? It's kind of just it's just functions. It's just, you know, mechanical movements that are happening. So, you know, that hence the phrase going through the motions, right? So we need to put this card into some context because I feel like something is just about to spring forth in your life, okay? And I kind of feel like at any moment everything is going to change. So let's put this card into a little bit of context. Now, Sagittarius, you are not here by accident, okay? There we have the Hanged Man. This message is meant for you. We have a 9 of Wands. We have a 3 of Wands. We have, there it is, yeah, the doorway, right? A divine doorway. This is the Eon card. Judgment, rebirth, reawakening, a baptism by fire. We have a very strong Sagittarius energy here with the 9 of Wands, yeah. We have a 5 of Cups. On the path of the Serpent, we have a 6 of Cups. We have a Knight of Cups. We have an Ace of Wands, and we have a 4 of Pentacles. And see, the 4 of Pentacles is very interesting too, because it's kind of like a card that's saying things are getting back to a routine. That it's kind of like we're doing all of this sort of feels like mechanical work, repetitive, routine work. There's going to be a leveling up. We see that there is this doorway here that we are waiting for. And I think this is what's coming into your life right now. We know that we're changing our life. We know that we are changing our future, okay? We know that through the work we're doing now, it really is, creating a better life for ourselves. Whatever it is. Let's say we're working hard at our job or something, or on our physical fitness, and it's taking a long time, and it seems like it's just rather slow, grueling work. We're kind of detached from. That's part of the Princess of Pentacles, this feeling of being detached. Feeling that we're just kind of going through those motions without a whole lot of connection to what we're doing, right? But there's a reason why we're doing all of this work. And then the 4 of Pentacles at the end is kind of saying that we're going to go through this process of celebration, and I think a real like life-changing moment. Okay, I think that you're being told by Spirit to keep doing what you're doing, but strive to be more connected with it, be more present, work on the mindfulness. It will pay off. Okay, there will be a celebration, and then there will be more of the routine. Things are going to have to continue on, but on a sort of higher level, okay? To me, it feels like a real leveling up here in some dimension of your life. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it over here with our little octopus friend, the 8 of Tentacles. And we're not going to look at that card until the very end, so you do have to watch until the end of the reading. But that card will tie everything together, and it will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card could be, put your prediction in the comments down below. Okay? Now, as we look around the room, we do see a couple of major arcana cards. We have the baptism by water, the baptism by fire, and to me, it really feels like with the Hanged Man here, that things are seemingly not progressing. Okay, it doesn't feel like anything's really happening, and so I can imagine that there's this detachment. There's this kind of this feeling of I don't know, that it's just kind of too routine, and there's nothing really. There's nothing exciting. There's nothing coming from it. That nothing is growing. Right? It's as if we've planted a garden in the yard, and no matter what we do, it just doesn't seem to be growing. Nothing is coming up. Nothing's sprouting yet. The Hanged Man then is kind of like maybe wanting to throw in the towel, wanting to surrender, wanting to give up. Okay. But it's also the feeling as if we're suspended in space and time. So nothing is progressing forward. That it's almost a Groundhog's Day. We keep repeating the same day over and over again. There is no progress. But the Hanged Man reminds us that while there may not be any visible signs of progress in the external, there is a lot that's happening under the surface, inside of you and behind the scenes in whatever this project or work is that you're doing. It doesn't matter. Maybe it's school, maybe you're retired, maybe it's your stamp collection, maybe it's the gumbo you're making, I don't know. Maybe it's your own business, maybe it's a relationship or a family thing. It may feel as if we're not making any progress because we don't see any external signs, but there is a lot of internal or behind the scenes or kind of under the surface progress being made, okay? And then, of course, we have the The alternate, this is the baptism by water, this is the baptism by fire. And this is telling me that very soon things are going to start happening rapidly. This is the internal kind of transformation, internal progress, and internal events kind of going on. And then this one seems to be the external. This one is saying that we need to step through this doorway, that we're in that process already, though it may not seem like it. On the other side of this is a whole different world for you. This card is literally a doorway or a portal to a new universe for you. So you're leveling up big time, okay? But we have to maintain our consistency here. Yeah. We have fire, fire, fire. We've got water, water, water. And we have our earth cards. We don't have any air cards, which is interesting, right? Because again, the air card, with all the princesses, what do I say about the princesses? Well, that it's kind of like we're doing things, but we're not really paying attention to what we're doing. So a princess of wands, for instance, is kind of an impulse to a behavior. And we don't put any space between that impulse and that behavior, and we're just acting recklessly, right? Or we have a princess of cups, which is we have a momentary emotion, we have a feeling, and we act on it like that with no thought. Okay? Then of course the princess of swords is, that I have a thought and I act on my thought, right? But the idea here is that with the princesses, the message is that we need to put space between the impulse and the behavior. In this case, between just one behavior and the next. Is that we don't know. There's no impulse that's driving it. There's no thought that's driving the behavior. It's just rote. It's routine. You know what I'm saying? And so there's no emotion behind it. It's just mechanical. And that's, in all the princesses, it's important that we buffer that we put space between one movement and the next, whether it's a movement of the will and an impulse and the behavior, a feeling and a behavior, a thought and a behavior, or a behavior and a behavior. So this is that card that all the princesses, okay, are recommending that we put a little bit of space, that we are a little bit mindful about what we're doing at any given moment, so that we can understand where the impulse is coming from, just so we can be present. Right now, I feel like there's a need for us to be more aware of our body. Okay, so do things that are going to bring about more of a body awareness, whether it's getting a massage, exercising, just kind of like squeezing a tennis ball or something, feeling different textures. Okay, doing body awareness meditations like yoga nidra, or what they call now non-sleep deep rest, but I like yoga nidra. Or anything that's tactile, anything that might sort of activate your sense of smell or your sense of taste. Like taking a lick of a lemon or something like that, right? It kind of wakes you up when you do things like that, or anything that's has an interesting texture. But you could easily look up those kinds of things. But that's what this card is recommending, that we put a little bit of mindfulness. All the princesses do, okay? And I think that's a very important aspect of this card. Now, your battle position is position 2. This is revealing the quest, the challenge, the obstacle on your path right now. And I think that whatever you're doing it feels almost like it is, it kind of feels like we're kind of icy. It's almost like it's cold. It feels that we just kind of have surrendered to this automatic process, and that we don't even know, like the days just go by and things just keep happening, and we're just almost dissociated from it, and just looking at our life and thinking, yeah, okay, these days are going by and I'm doing these things, but I don't know why. I don't know what the connection is, And so this is, again, kind of going through the motions, and we've sort of surrendered to that. I think that this card is also telling me that would just as easily give all of this up, That you would, the conflict right now might be that, do I keep doing this? As we sort of sit back and look at our life every night and we close our eyes to go to bed, I wonder if it's like, do I even want to keep doing the same thing? the job, whether it's the family thing, school, whether it's the project, or it's the sport, the skill you're trying to learn, whatever it might be, do in the garden. Do I even want to keep doing it? Is there even a purpose to it? So it's kind of like doing the garden, or it's kind of like doing the physical exercises that we're just going through the motions every day, but then the hanged man is saying, what's the point? What is the like maybe we feel as if this is difficult and challenging things we're doing. Say we're going to the gym every day. We might be on the verge of giving up because we feel there's no benefit, there's no progress being made. But sometimes that progress, there's like a lot happening under the surface, Sometimes all that progress is hidden from us until it's not, So, it's like you're going to the gym, working out, nothing really changes until that one day you go to the gym and suddenly, bang, like everything is different. Okay? And it's kind of like that the seed underneath the surface is doing its thing, really working hard, but you don't see it until that little sprout shoots up. And then there's some plant, something growing, something green there, And that's sort of what this is, and I think it's a lot of things going on under the surface. We're being told not to quit. Don't give up right now. Okay? And it may feel difficult for you to stick with something right now because you're not feeling you're not feeling connected. You're not feeling the progress. Okay, let's go underneath the surface and check out card number 3, which is your soul position. This reveals your private self and the kind of emotional landscape right beneath the surface. A lot of strength, and maybe this is what's being developed in you underneath the surface here is strength. Maybe whatever you're going through, you may not feel the progress, we may not feel connected to it, we may not enjoy it, doesn't seem like it, not yet anyway. We may not be feeling connected to it or any kind of attachment or any kind of anything. But what it's doing for you, it's kind of like going through these motions, doing the routine every day, whatever you're doing, is creating something very, very powerful inside of you. That quality that's being created inside of you is going to be the very essential quality that you will need when this thing takes off and your success skyrockets. When we go through that doorway and everything changes, it's going to feel like an overnight change. But as we know, overnight changes don't happen overnight, do they? No, they're brewing under the surface for a long time. So this is that quality of your character. This might be a situation that I don't feel like I'm making external progress, but what it is doing, it's making me stronger inside. It's giving me willpower. It's giving me fortitude and tenacity. It's giving me resolve. This is a card of strength, and it's kind of it's forging your inner strength, whatever this situation is for you. Okay, and this is kind of this is what you maybe need to focus on in order to bring yourself back into the present moment and realize what you are doing. They say when you're doing exercises, it's probably not a good idea to just distract yourself with music or television or something, right? Or work while you exercise, but to consciously be present and to feel your muscles, feel your body moving, and really envision and visualize and believe that with every movement of your body during those exercises, you're getting stronger, and visualize the powerful light just connecting the muscles and whatever. They say that kind of, will intensify your workout and actually make it more effective. But being detached and being aloof and doing something robotically or mechanically is not the same as doing it consciously and intentionally and with presence. Okay? And that's kind of like this is part of that. We need to feel the strength being created inside of us. Feel ourselves getting stronger. Feel that something is building up and building up and building up to a critical mass, and that at any moment that abundance is gonna spring forth from the cold, dry ground. Okay, and the Empress energy will be here. I'm really hoping the mystery card is the Empress. But this is what's being created inside of you, and this is what we need to focus on and what we need to bring out of ourselves and what we should be mindful of. Okay. Position 4 for you is the dwarf position. It's an event that is in the past that's still kind of, it's holding you to account here with your present circumstances. It's the Three of Wands. It's a card of virtue. Okay. This is shaping your current situation, whatever you're doing now that, again, we're kind of detached from, feel like we're going through the motions, but for some reason you feel obligated to do it. Okay, so with the virtue here, it's kind of like you've made a commitment. Maybe you've taken an oath. Maybe you've signed a contract. Maybe it's a soul contract. Maybe you created for yourself a Ulysses contract, or you've given your word, or you've taken that oath personally or spiritually that you're going to do this for a certain amount of time. Maybe this is kind of this is your sense of identity. This is a card that says you know who you are, you know why you're here. I think there was a time in your life where you didn't. We maybe for a while we're living a life that was perhaps there is a little dilemma here, because we feel like we used to live a life that didn't have a real direction, but we felt more present, felt more aware. But now that we're living a life with direction and purpose, and you've committed yourself to something, it started to feel too routine, and now I don't feel so present. So it's kind of like you're trading off one thing for the other, right? It almost sounds better to go back to a life where I didn't have any real commitments. I was just doing kind of whatever I wanted in life, living however I wanted. I was not responsible for so many things. It was just us. It was, I felt a little more free, and I felt more present. I felt more aware. I felt more connected to life, And now that we've gotten into this routine, we've committed ourselves to something, and it kind of feels like, like the magic's been taken out of it. Or the spontaneity is gone, perhaps, right? And so there is that trade-off, but I think that there doesn't need to be. I think that we can get some of that presence and mindfulness back. I think we have to practice it. Okay, so as your dwarf card, I think this is something that is sort of lingering in our souls when we're thinking that I have such responsibility now, but there was a time where I didn't. And maybe the Hanged Man is, was kind of saying, why did I get myself into this? I could have been doing all sorts of other things, right? This is the sun in Aries. Okay, and to me this feels like it's a very cardinal energy. It feels like this is our ability to just stop on a dime and do a complete 180 if we wanted to. That at any moment I can do whatever I wanted, in a way. We had that Aries kind of ability to just initiate something new, to turn on a dime and do any number of things, right? Kind of whatever appealed to us, whatever felt exciting, whatever we were drawn to. But now that there is this intense commitment, now that we have sort of discovered our path, now we're really being tested, because now we're limited. Now we can't just go and do whatever we really feel like doing in the moment. We're on a path. We're committed to something. Okay. And I think it may feel like it wasn't a good choice right now. But what you're building and what you're creating in yourself and in your world is going to be so much better than whatever these feelings were back here. This isn't going to be much of a factor for you. As we continue to put in this work and we reach this giant position up here, this is the driving force, dominant motivation. This is the eon judgment, rebirth, reawakening, the baptism by fire. This is empowering you to move ahead, because if it weren't for this, I feel like we would eventually quit or burn out or give up or whatever. We'd be defeated. Because this is your recognition. This is what's driving you forward, right? Because deep inside of you that if you continue to do this work you're doing, you're going to make it big. You're going to level up. You're going to go through this doorway and have the future that you dreamed of. It feels better when we think of the past where I didn't have any responsibilities. I could do whatever I wanted. And I felt better in the moment, but there wasn't much of a future in that kind of a life. You know what I mean? Because we didn't know who we were. We were just kind of a little bit aimless. Maybe it was our kind of fool period. But now, we're suffering and sacrificing because we know that this is leading to the future that I want. So in a way, there's discipline here. I think there's a lot of discipline here. And I think there's an ability to forego the immediate gratification that maybe we are used to enjoying, foregoing the immediate gratification because we know that the long-term benefits are so unbelievably great. And I think those long-term benefits are pretty close, okay? This is a divine doorway. I want to do a divine doorway oracle card for you. And so that's keeping us going, knowing that our future is going to be absolutely amazing and that we are creating that future every day, every step of the way. We're creating that future, knowing that we're not just here treading water. We're not just like floating here doing nothing. You're creating so much right now, but it's all happening under the surface or behind the scenes. It's just about to spring forth, okay? So it's not that we're waiting. No, you're not waiting. You're intensely active. There is a lot that is happening. And sometimes we have a hard time seeing that, you know, because we're used to seeing things in the external. Things aren't happening in the external world, so nothing must be happening. A lot is happening, okay? And it's all, again, it's like that seed underground that's splitting and sprouting, and it's just about ready to come through the dirt, okay? So divine doorway, forgive and forget, a ritual cleansing of pain and lies, arise and awaken, see a new sunrise. Okay? See a new sunrise. Maybe that's in reference to our hanged man, right? For us to turn our perspective around a little bit. I think that we're going to arise, right? Turn the hanged man upside down here, or right side up. And the hanged man is going to arise and see a new sunrise, see the dawn, see the verdant energy now arriving in your life. Okay? And so to me, this is an indication that very, very soon the difficulty of this path will give way to light, the sunrise. Maybe the sun's going to be over here in the mystery card. Forgive and forget. I don't know what that's about for you, to be honest with you. Okay? Maybe forgive and forget is, it could be part of this regret that we have that says, you know what, I should have started this a long time ago and I'd already be done by now. It could be that we're feeling sort of torn between that old life that we used to live and now this new life of discipline and focus that doesn't feel as good as just kind of being a free spirit, you know? So it may be that we need to realize that the pain that we're feeling now, the suffering, the sacrifices we're making now, we're building something that is extraordinary. And that sunrise is just to arise and awaken and see a new sunrise. Well, that's kind of a rebirth type of energy, right? That kind of feels like, we're being reborn, we're starting a new day, and that's a reference to this card exactly. This is that rebirth, reawakening, right? The baptism by fire sort of card going through this doorway. There's a new universe on the other side of this. Okay. Let's look at position 6, the imago. Very interesting to get a 5 of cups in the imago, because this is the way forward for you, the future events, the immediate events, the very next step for you. And it's a card of disappointment. It's a card of emotions. To me, it feels like we have to step through the difficulty. We have to step through our disappointment in order to realize the bliss, in order to realize well, I mean, look what's on the other side of the 5 of cups, the 6 of cups. Okay. So I feel like we have to sort of accept how we're feeling right now. Maybe part of our Princess of Pentacles is that detachment, that lack of mindfulness, because we don't want to feel the challenge, the pain, the discomfort. We don't want to feel the suffering of our path right now. So we're just kind of going through the motions. We're just doing the thing out of routine. We're doing it by rote, rather than saying, okay, this is how I feel about things. So maybe there is, an aspect of this, and I don't know what your path is exactly, but maybe there's an aspect of this that you have to look at how you feel. Okay? So if we just try to ignore how we're feeling, we become cold. We become unfeeling. We're not going to feel the joy either, because we've learned to just be the Princess of Pentacles and just go through the motions. So we're not connecting with our emotions. Okay? We're not connecting with these feelings. And I think that's the first step for you, is to connect with your feelings, even the ones that don't feel good, even the ones that are disappointed, even the feelings that are, hey, you know what? I'm here. And it's like when you're exercising. We become detached from our exercises. I'm watching TV, I'm reading a book, I'm on the internet while I'm exercising, and I'm not feeling anything. I'm trying not to feel anything anyway, right? And so we end up becoming more and more detached from our bodies, and we don't feel the pain really of exercising. We just try to ignore it until it's over. But we don't feel the good either, right? We don't feel the pleasure. We don't feel the love. We don't feel the heat in our muscles, and we don't feel them growing. Like, we don't have that positive experience either. So by cutting ourselves off from our negative emotions, we're cutting off the good ones too. We're just becoming cold and detached. We're saying, I'm cutting myself off from my emotions because I don't want to feel the bad emotions. Well, I'm also cutting myself off from the good emotions because we don't have that ability to just disconnect one wire but not the other. It's kind of all or nothing, And so I think this makes sense, that we need to kind of admit and feel and sit with how we feel and meditate how we be mindful of how we feel. We don't want to become the feeling, right? We're feeling a negative emotion. I don't want to become that. But I need to recognize it. I should be able to say, yeah, that's how I feel right now. This is a wave of disappointment or sadness or frustration or anger or whatever that's coming toward me. I don't have to become this, but I'm not going to run away from it, and I'm certainly not going to suppress it or push it away. I'm going to feel it, and I'm going to let it go, because I know on the other side of this is going to be joy. And so let's reconnect with our emotions. Let's start being mindful now, so that when this leveling up happens, we'll recognize it and we'll be able to feel it and enjoy it. Okay? I think this makes perfect sense. Now we're going to talk about the path of the serpent. And as we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Okay. Your persona is the Six of Cups. This is usually the card of our public face, how people see us, okay? The costume that we wear in the greater theater of life. And in that sense, I think it sort of fits. If we're not, it may be a bit of masking here, that we may be projecting an image of positivity, even when we don't really feel it. It's almost like sometimes we can fake being happy, This card might be saying too that we, because of the disconnect we feel in our work right now, whatever that work is. When I say work, I don't just mean what you're doing for money. I mean whatever you're going through right now, whatever you're burning calories doing every day, right? It could be that we're so kind of detached from what we're doing that we're seeking out other ways to feel good. Okay? And we'll leave it at that. And that's okay. We all do that, right? And I think that sometimes we will seek out pleasure in order to kind of continue to avoid pain. So that these two cards together can sort of suggest that. But what I see is that you're going through, you're able to confront how you feel it and let it go, so that you can experience true joy and real pleasure, connected here with what you're doing, not having to find some sort of good feeling outside or chasing some kind of pleasure, and maybe like then it becomes kind of like emotional eating, right? That sort of thing. I'm guilty of that. But I think that this is going to be real joy and pleasure and real connection, okay? Especially when we look at it not so much as the persona, but as your general energy after taking this next step, okay? And so we have to understand that we want this to be a real and authentic joy. And I'm not just I'm not just covering up because I don't want to feel this stuff over here. So I'm looking for some kind of pleasure outside of this whole situation. I want to feel how I feel authentically, so that I can move past the 5 and get to a real 6 of Cups. Okay, a real good feeling here. The Knight of Cups in the environment is interesting too. This is position 8. It's a shadow position. Sometimes it is events in your life that are sort of bringing about not so much your shadow, but bringing about the qualities that we have down here. Right, this is what is hidden in the shadows for you, right? It's that strength that's being developed in you underneath the surface, and this is an event that is sort of is requiring that you develop this. It's bringing this out of you, right? It's stirring this strength up in you, and so to me, it feels like there is maybe a relationship. Maybe this has to do with a relationship ultimately, but I think what it is, this is something that you are pursuing in life from a real place of love, right? And it kind of is, it's like we've been on the quest for the Holy Grail for a long time. And it's been so long now that we've almost forgotten what the Holy Grail is for us. And we're just sort of going through the motions of questing every day. We don't feel like we're making much progress. It's that part of the story where Parsifal is wandering through, kind of the dark, scary forest looking for the Grail Castle, but doesn't find it. Wanders for years trying to find the Grail Castle, and becomes kind of numb to the feelings. Becomes almost kind of hopeless, but something is keeping him on the path, even when he's kind of lost all hope of ever finding the Grail Castle, right? So it seems as if your quest right now, your love for this work, or your passion for this work that was once there, maybe we're not feeling it so much anymore, but it's what is building up your internal strength. Okay. The Knight of Cups is looking at the future. Looking at the 10 of Cups, the dream come true life. The picture perfect sort of dream ending to this path. So it may be that you don't necessarily know what you want your future to look like. You don't have the details. You don't see the external progress. You don't know how it's going to really look. Like you don't know the color of the wallpaper, or the type of carpet, right, or the furniture. But you know how you want it to feel. All right, the Knights are always looking at this path and knowing that this is the path that's going to make you happy. This is the path that should be making you happy. And I think that it is, but I think we have to go through this veil of negative emotions first before we really can connect with the positive experience that we're having, and we can really connect with the progress that we're making and understand that our happiness or our enjoyment isn't just something that's far away and one day I'll find it. Okay, but we're going to experience not just the 10 of Cups at the end, but we're going to have the Ace all the way 9, 10 of Cups. We're going to travel the whole journey, and we're going to feel all the feelings of it. there's going to be the intense love of the path. There's going to be the pain, the disappointment of the path. There's going to be the hopelessness of the path, but there's going to be the celebration. There's going to be the joy. There's going to be the pleasure and the real, true happiness of the path. We can't ignore any aspect of that path, right? Because again, we're not going to have the good feelings if we don't also kind of accept the bad ones too. Okay, so this is a path that is really challenging you. And it's testing your resolve, testing your commitment. It's something that is strengthening you from the inside out. Okay. And I think that during those moments where we are not feeling all that connected and all that good about our path, maybe we've seen the Five of Cups and we said, I don't want to feel that. So we kind of have this detached and cold Princess of Pentacles that's just going through the motions, right? This is that period of time where it's almost a spiritual dryness. We're feeling that dryness, and it's saying that the only thing getting me through this is my willpower. This is the only thing that's holding it together right now. Okay? If it wasn't for your willpower, probably would have walked away from this. But as we know, things are going to progress. Things are going to get infinitely better than they are. We're going through this doorway. We're able to accept how we feel because every step on the path from Ace to Ten of Cups is going to be an important aspect of your journey, right? So the next card is position 9. It is the Spectre. The fear, worry, the concern. It's the Ace of Wands. The concern is that we've lost sight of the goal, that if we're so disconnected from what we're doing, we're starting to wonder, why am I even here? What was the purpose of this? Why even bother anymore? This is also the card that's saying we might be worried that we're going to end up losing our willpower. If I don't get some kind of I don't know, confirmation, some kind of support, some kind of a return on my investment, I don't know if my willpower is strong enough to sustain this indefinitely. I need something back. Yeah. We can't just keep applying our willpower indefinitely, right? So it kind of feels like I know that I've got a car with a good engine and I have gas in the tank, but if I don't find a place to pull over, if I don't find a gas station or a motel or something, I can't keep driving forever. Eventually I'll run out of gas. Eventually I'll lose my attention. My willpower won't be there. Sometimes my willpower won't be enough. I'll just simply run out of fuel, okay? So it kind of feels like that, where it's like I have to eventually reach some sort of landmark, some kind of a gas station or something, at least like a phone booth. I don't know if they even have phone booths anymore. Or a restaurant or, something, a little diner. Because this is our fear here is that we're going to end up running out of gas, running out of willpower to sustain this. Without anything else, how long can I run on just pure willpower? I need something back. I need some kind of a visible sign of progress here. I think that's what we're getting with our Four of Pentacles. I think we're getting an indication. Follow the signs here, because you're going to see that Spirit is giving you a glimpse. It's kind of like we're waiting for the whole meal to get here, but we're very happy when someone brings out a sample of the dish for us to taste, and that gets us a little bit more. It kind of wakes us up, gives us a little bit more energy. We say, okay, I can wait a few more minutes because now I got a little something to eat. And that to me feels like the Four of Pentacles. Also, I think the Four of Pentacles is safety, stability, and security. It feels as if we're being fortified so that we can continue the journey. Okay. This is a card of material power. This is a card that's really kind of showing that because of your hard work and your tenacity and your commitment, your strength, you are arriving at a waypoint, at a landmark. You will. This is like you see the sprout coming up through the dirt, you know. And I think that it gives you that extra motivation to keep going, to see the progress that you've made. Okay? And now sometimes we see this card and we think this is just more routine. Okay? That's why we need the water. Because water has to flow. The pentacles need the cups. They have to be together. Because without the pentacles, the water just spills all over the floor. Right? And the pentacles by themselves is just a cup, an empty glass, an empty cup with no water in it. And one and not the other is kind of pointless. So we need both at the same time. And I think that's why we're being told to reconnect with our bodies, reconnect with our emotions. And that way, when we do that and when we're mindful of what we're doing, we'll start to notice the progress we're making. We'll start to see it, we'll start to feel it, and it will be a joyous, joyous feeling. Okay, right now it feels like this is just cold detachment, it's just routine, it's just Groundhog's Day over and over and over again. It's really not. Okay? Essentially, it's not, especially if we're mindful, then we can get a feeling, we can get a glimpse of the progress that we are making internally, and we'll start to see the progress that we're making in the external world too. And like I said, eventually this is going to feel like an overnight success, overnight change, sudden leveling up. We've got to reconnect, and this again, it's another card that's saying we've got to reconnect with our physical nature. Got to reconnect with our body, do the body awareness, find some other ways that you can get in touch with your body again, okay, and get in touch with your emotions. They go together, right? Our body kind of holds the emotions, and very often when we have emotions, we feel them in our body. That's why they call them feelings, right? So the water and the pentacles need to go together. If we have all of these, if we have this earth and earth here, but without the water in there, because we've sort of detached from our feelings a little bit here, we're going to have a rather empty experience. Okay, this kind of looks like a dry lake bed. We got to fill that up. We have to be able to fill that up with that water, and we can recognize our progress here. Now I want to look at the mystery card. This is position 11, the guide. This is the voice of your higher self, the voice of the silence within you. The message here is usually about a quality that we need to develop in order to walk the path ahead. So, what do we think it's going to be? I think it's going to be water, ultimately, right? Let's uncover this mystery together. What do you think it's going to be? Put your prediction in the comments down below. Let's see what we have. Oh, the Ace of Cups. Oh, yes, the Ace of Cups. Beautiful Ace of Cups. That water is flowing. I feel like this is now, we've reconnected with our sense of purpose. We've reconnected with why we're here. We've gotten some kind of visible, tangible confirmation of that we're making progress, that we're on the right track. Like Spirit's kind of given you something to say, here, yes, you're making progress. See, you can see it. Whether it's financial or physical or whatever it is. It's renewing your sense of purpose. It's activating your heart. It's giving you the fuel for your gas tank, And that's what this is. This is the water that's going to go inside the structure, the cup, right? This is called cups, but this is water energy. The water needs a vessel. The vessel needs some kind of life inside of it. We don't want to just be cold and detached. We want to be activated, present. We want to feel the feelings of what we're doing. Okay, so we say mindfulness, but sometimes mindfulness, we can be mindful of our feelings, mindful of how our body feels, mindful of how our heart feels, our emotional body, physical body, emotional body, the mindfulness. Because that's going to sustain our efforts. And this is a path that's worth pursuing for you. Okay. I think this is a really wonderful confirmation card. And to me, it really is a gift. I think being able to feel all of the feelings that come with this journey is a gift. Every step from the Ace all the way to the Ten of Cups, everything in between, is a gift that we get to feel those things. We don't want to hang on to the disappointment or the anger or the sadness or the hopelessness. We need to go through them. But they're part of life. Yeah. So please let this message find your heart. Each card is a mirror. Each station is a temple of transformation, alternating between who you're becoming and the world you're creating. Remember, the tarot does not dictate your future. It reveals the pattern of possibility. It invites you to co-create your destiny. If this reading has illuminated your soul in any way, please share your reflections down below. Together we journey onward, ever upward, and ever inward. And we're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, we'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There is a link in the corner, and there's a link down below. New readings for Sagittarius, Wednesdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.